Oh, I never knew love would come and find me one day. Oh, I never knew that you would be the one headed my way. Yeah. Oh, you caught me off guard and you took me by surprise. Oh, there's so many things that I wanna do. Do you? Can you visualize? It's hard to say all the things I won't do, but I'm trying. Oh, to find a way to get close to you. It's so hard to say all the things I won't do. I'm waiting to let you know how much I want you. When I think about you, I feel la 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 la. When I think about you, I want la 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 la. When I think about you, I feel la 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 la. When I think about you, I want la 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 la. All that time. Oh, you get what I'm trying to say, 'cause to you I'm an open book. Oh, take your time and read me slowly, baby. Got the hungry look. But it's hard to say all the things I want to, but I'm trying. Oh, to find a way to get close to you. It's so hard to say all the things I want to. I'm waiting to let you know how much I want you. Yeah. When I think about you, I feel la 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 la. When I think about you, I want la 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 la. Yeah, yeah. When I think about you, I feel la 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 la. When I think about you, I want la 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 la. All the time. When I think about you, I feel la 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 la. When I think about you, I want la 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 la. Yeah. When I think about you, when I think about you, I feel la la la. When I think about you, I want la 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 la. All the time.
Hello, welcome to a Logan Story Pixar. Just kidding. Welcome to a Logan Story theme park review. Let's fix this. What is this theme park review? Well, you're in luck, because it's the one and only Magic Kingdom. Let's get into it. You're probably wondering, Logan, why are we talking about something such as this? What is the point? Just to finish off the theme park review, so we can talk about other theme park reviews, of course, but what is it about this park that seems to open the question of, Disney World? Magic Kingdom is the park that literally opened all the gates for every other park known to man. In terms of Disney World. Magic Kingdom is what inspired, not inspired, but what started the Walt Disney World franchise, theme park, whatever you want to call it. And that is actually inspired by this very theme park. This one. Epcot. Which is the first one we talked about, remember? But what is the point of having a talk about all four parks in the order that you're giving it? Well, think about it. If I started with this park And then I ended with this park. It would make absolute sense, because this is where it technically all started. This is the next one after Epcot, and this one is kind of after this is after Epcot. This is the next one. It's nice to end with the thing that started all the theme parks indefinitely, and perhaps made the start for all the Walt Disney World theme parks. You see what I'm saying? Hopefully you do. But the thing is, what more can we talk about in terms of a park like this? We're gonna talk about 3 things. 1. This theme park is a very, very treasured theme park. I mean, look at the opening. Julie Andrews just sitting around there dancing around like she was in Sound of Music. This is something. It's the park that literally greenlit every other park after that. This park in 1971, the next park in the next year, the next park the next year, therefore, and therefore. You see what I'm saying? Which would leave a very abundance of conversation in terms of everything that comes through in terms of something like this. Why is Magic Kingdom simply a model of Disneyland? Well, think about it. If you had Disneyland, but bigger, that's what Magic Kingdom is. You wouldn't have the Hall of Presidents. You wouldn't have the Laugh Floor. Not saying you need those things, but you wouldn't have them. The freaking Cinderella Castle looks 10 times thousands bigger than freaking the Sleeping Beauty Castle. So this park is what we call charming. It's charming, isn't it? I mean, look at it. Quite charming, isn't it? And it's down here. Lift it up a little bit. Thus you have a little bit more of a understanding of why people love Magic Kingdom so much. But I get it. If you're from California, you go to Disneyland, it's like comparison. You're comparing potatoes with tomatoes. It's very, very hard to find the discomparisons, if that's even a word. But again, how far off are potatoes from tomatoes? I mean, they both grow on the ground. They're both likely used in many, many very savory dishes. And, well, they both have kind of weirdly similar sounding names. Do you see why I'm using the analogy potatoes to tomatoes? It's hard to find uncomparisons to something that's very comparable, if that makes sense. But 2 is simply crazy. 2 is this. Originality. It's a very, very original, transcending park that transcends above Disneyland. It's almost like a theme park sequel. It's like the original theme park sequel. It's bigger, it's better, it's everything a sequel's supposed to be. Remember when we talked about sequels? Yeah, it's the same thing with theme parks. It's the same thing. Now, that being said, what could we take away from something like this? I mean, it's a big, better theme park. It's a charming theme park. We get that. It's original, but we can go a little bit more into what makes it original. It has a lot of charm, just like Disneyland. It has the blueprints to be something of a great standalone theme park, which Disneyland is. What makes it original? The layout. It's different. It's the same thing as Disneyland, but there's a lot more features in this park. There's a lot more things to do. It's almost crazy. There's a lot more interesting, quirky things to do in this park. Maybe you could say that this park is a little quirky too. I mean, who just decides to put a Hall of Presidents and keep up with all the presidents that are going to be in this world if there is going to be more presidents and more presidents and more presidents? But good luck with that, Hall of Presidents. Making huge arrangements with that, or possibly getting rid of it. You see what I'm saying? Maybe it's the quirkiness with the charm. If Disneyland's Prince Charming, then I guess Walt Disney World's Flynn Rider. Let's just put it this way. Prince Charming is the very, self-reserved guy. And he, generally speaking, is quite, in fact, gentlemanlike. Now, Flynn Rider could possibly, bite back. And sometimes Magic Kingdom does that. It bites back with its quirkiness. I hope that was a good comparison. But now we're going to go into number 3. Here we go. Number 3. To look indefinitely about Magic Kingdom, to understand what I'm trying to say, it's important to understand this one thing. How can you be original and quirky? How can you hold that grace and that stone for yourself? Well, look at everything that's come about Magic Kingdom. It's able to find out who it really is and what it really means for itself in spite of the world around it. If you're asking me why do I give personality checks to such parks as, theme parks, is because each of these theme parks does hold a certain quality of human quality and personality. So in which case it means the most improbable thing that something as simple as these parks could hold something in very various people's minds and, hearts and personalities and spirits. But what does this mean for you and me? Well, it could possibly mean this. The things that we hold true in our hearts is what is important in everyday life. And what we can take away from this park is to understand how far we can go to figure out what our journey is, and to figure out not to stop when some story ends, and to understand ourselves through it, even more so. So that begs the question, are you going to stop when the journey ends? Are you going to stop right there? You're going to stop when somebody else's story ends? You're going to stop right there? Or are you going to keep going? Is it going to completely matter to you if you leave some people behind to keep your journey going, to keep your story going? Kind of like this. It means something as simple as this. Seeing your worth through the world is more important than seeing other people's worth of you. In Magic Kingdom, even though it's the sequel to Disneyland, it understands that it's a little different from the rest. And guess what? It benefited it in the long run. Disneyland was different from the rest, and it benefited from the long run. So, in which case, it's important to understand this because Magic Kingdom is exactly like Disneyland, except sequel, bigger, better, quirkier, charming. But it can only be that way through a little bit of rough patches and leaving people behind. So in which case, that means Magic Kingdom and every one of these parks has their own personality and it knows completely who it is. So the question I have for you is, are you ready to know who you really are?